welcome into Coach Craig's Sports, and this is the MLB DFS Core Pick video for Monday, June 23rd. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We will be going over my core picks. It's going to be 5 players in total, 1 pitcher, 4 hitters. That's going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponent, as well as some recent history. And then after that, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Monday's slate overall. And then in the morning, I'll be posting my early morning weather report that I'll have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher listed down there. And then I will also be posting as many of the starting lineups as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. So definitely make sure that you are checking up down that comment section, especially as we do get closer to lock. But without further ado, we'll get right into it with the core picks. We're going to start off at that pitcher position. Not the greatest day at pitcher overall, so I did go with Spencer Schwellenbach. He's the guy that does have the most history versus respective opponent. $9,900. He's averaging just under 36 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the New York Mets, and he has decent history versus them in the past. And he had 1 start versus them so far this season where he had 33 points. Last year he had 3 starts, 37, 40, and 64 points respectively. So definitely do like the potential upside that he could have. I think he is arguably the safest pitcher on this slate overall, and he is the most expensive pitcher, probably for good reason at this point in time. If we look at what he's done so far in the season, he's got 5 wins in total. ERA is at 3.26. Once again, averaging just under 37 fantasy points per game at $9,900. Then we move down to our hitters. We're going to start off with Logan O'Hoppe of the Los Angeles Angels. He's $3,000, averaging just under 9 fantasy points so far on the season. Goes against the Boston Red Sox. Walker Buehler is the expected starting pitcher for them. He's 1-for-1 with 1 home run versus Walker Buehler in his career. He has at least 1 hit in his last 4 games that he has started. 1 multi-hit game during that time span, 3 home runs, 2 double-digit performances. In all 4 of those games, he's had at least 9 fantasy points or higher. So definitely do like the floor of him as well as the upside that he's shown as of late. And if we look at what he's done so far on the season, 233 batting average, 17 home runs, 37 RBIs. Once again, averaging just under 9 fantasy points per game at $3,000. Then we move down to second base with Spencer Steer. You could also play him at first base or outfield if you want to do so. He's $2,700, averaging just under 8 fantasy points per game on the season. And he's going against the New York Yankees. And it is expected that Alan Winans will make the start for them, probably mispronouncing his name, but he is 2-for-2 versus Alan Winans in his career. He has at least 1 hit in 4 out of his last 5 games, 3 multi-hit games during that time span, 1 home run, 3 double-digit performances in 4 games of at least 9 fantasy points or higher. So definitely do like what he's been doing as of late. Obviously, he had the slower start to the season as he started the year off with that injury that he tried playing through. Was not too successful at the plate during that early part of the season, but has turned it on a little bit more as of late. And if we look at what he's done on the season in totality, 230 batting average, 6 home runs, 25 RBIs. Once again, averaging just under 8 fantasy points per game at $2,700. It looks like a very good matchup for Spencer Steer and this Reds lineup just in general. Then we're going to move down to his teammate at shortstop, Elly De La Cruz, $4,100, averaging just under 13.5 fantasy points per game on the season. And he is another guy that has a little bit of success versus Alan Winans in his career, 2-for-2 with 1 home run. And Elly De La Cruz is currently on a 3-game hitting streak, 1 multi-hit game during that time span, 1 home run, 1 double-digit performance, and 2 games of 9 fantasy points or higher. Obviously, he was hitting pretty well. Then there was kind of like a 3 or 4 game slump where he kind of went over. But the last 3 games, he has at least 1 hit in all 3 of them. And he does offer some pretty good upside just in general. So definitely do like his potential in this matchup, whether that is as a one-of play or part of a red stack, which I think is going to look pretty good overall. And he's got 265 batting average, 17 home runs, 52 RBIs. Once again, averaging just under 13.5 fantasy points per game at $4,100. And then last but not least, we're going to go down to Christian Yelich, who's been playing extremely well as of late. $3,400, averaging just under 12 fantasy points per game. Goes against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Technically, they haven't officially announced a starter. Carmen Melendonsky, he's technically listed as the starter on like a roster resource, but he did get called up and pitched in relief on Saturday. So whether or not they go to him on Monday is kind of a big question mark. Even if that is the case, he's probably not going to pitch too deep in that game. Probably a bullpen game for the Pirates team overall. If it is Melendonsky that gets the start, Yelich technically is 0-for-3 versus him, but I definitely do like what he's done as of late. He's on a 6-game hitting streak, 5 multi-hit games during that time span, 1 home run, and 5 double-digit performances. So he's really turned a corner as of late. And if we look at what he's done on the season in totality, 259 batting average, 14 home runs, 54 RBIs. Once again, averaging just under 12 fantasy points per game at $3,400. Looks like a really good value overall. I definitely do like getting into this Brewers team going against the Pittsburgh Pirates in what I assume will be a bullpen game overall. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 players that I do have listed here, you have $11,900 remaining, just under $3,000 per player. So going to have to get a little bit creative just in general, but there are some pretty pretty good value options on today's slate overall. So definitely feel free to mix and match the rest of the way from there. You don't technically have to play all 5 of these guys together. Stacks will play a pretty big role just in general. And I do think that there are going to be a lot of good teams to stack. So definitely feel free to mix and match as you do see fit. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Monday's slate overall. So we're going to start off with the Cincinnati Reds. Obviously, 2 of them are in my core picks. They're going against Alan Winans, who will be making the start for the New York Yankees. Originally, it was supposed to be Ryan Yarbrough, but he did go on the injured list. So Alan Winans doesn't have much history or success at the major league level, so definitely do like the Reds in this matchup. Some of their hitters have faced him in the past and have done pretty well versus him. Then we have the Brewers going against Moldowski or the Pittsburgh bullpen. Probably going to be a bullpen game for that Pittsburgh team overall. So I definitely do like the upside of that Brewers lineup, and they've been doing pretty well as of late. And then we move over to Los Angeles Angels going against Walker Buehler, who struggled quite a bit as of late. And the Angels have hit him pretty well in the past. And then last but not least, we have Atlanta Braves going against Paul Blackburn. Not a long list history there. They have hit him pretty well in the small sample size, including his most recent start, which did come against the Atlanta Braves at the same time as well. But with that being said, these are my core picks as well as top GPP teams to stack for Monday, June 23rd. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Once again, I will be listing my early morning weather report down in the comments section that of any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher, and then I will be posting as many of the starting lamps as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. So definitely make sure that you are checking out down in that comment section so that you do have the most up-to-date information as possible. But with that being said, if you're brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Greg Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have MLB DFS in terms of the core pick video, typically Monday through Friday. I know I've been kind of skipping Thursdays a lot lately with the CFL DFS going on. This week, Thursday, I know it's a really funky slate, so we're not going to touch it this week as well. So do not expect a video for Thursday, but we'll have them for Monday through Friday the rest of the week. And then I do have my CFL DFS video coming out once a week that typically comes out on Wednesdays as well. So definitely I'll look out for that if that's something you're into as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Parlay Play, and Prize Picks if you're a brand new user to any one of those 3 sites. When you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's a 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's a 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Greg Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS for Monday, June 23rd.